What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about a low market cap crypto gem in this video. It's a crypto that I've talked about here and there over the past few weeks, over the past few months, and it's at a very opportunistic moment to either allocate some more or to, dip in. If you missed the boat last time, you're not going to miss it this time. At least at these levels, anyways. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let's get into it, okay? I'm talking about none other than MROCKS, Mr. Ox, as I like to call it. It is the native crypto for the Moonsters ecosystem here. Moonsters, the crypto project, and MROCKS, the crypto token, right? So, and then also on that note, by the way, if we look at MROCKS here, if you're typing it up on Dex Screener, you can't find it on any centralized exchanges. Both of these are accurate. This is the MROCKS token right here, right? This is just on Radium, where this is on Meteora. But all these base ones, if there's any others that are not on Meteora, or if it's not a Solana coin, just understand it's not MROCKS. And you can always check. You can always check the what's it called? The contract address. If it doesn't have Moon3 in the first four, or capital BC1 lowercase y as the last four, then it's probably not it. Never hurts to copy this and then paste it, and make sure that you've got the right one. But anyways, let's get into this, okay? Let's get into this. We've talked about this thing really since before it popped to throughout really this whole range here. I don't think I've talked about it in a few days. I don't know when the last time was that I talked about it, but it's definitely gone lower than I expected it to go, but that's not a problem. Lower is good. Lower is good. When you have a low cap crypto gem, you want it to go lower, because the lower it goes, the more amplified your returns are. 2.7 million. I remember there were a lot of people who said that they thought about buying at this area or just below, and then once the price is up here, they felt like they missed the boat, so they're going to sit it out. Well, if you sat out on this, now's the time to get in. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but throughout here, from a high to a low, you can see that there was one area where we had a little pivot. It was right here. Other than that, we just kind of moved down. There's a little pivot right there. And that little pivot zone, we're actually right at it now, potentially finding support right at this area. If we take an all-time high to low, I think we are just above the golden ratio, but all-time high to all-time low Fibonacci retracement. Oh, we're right above the 382, right at the 382. That's nice. Okay, so it's not the golden ratio here. It's the 382. Sometimes when you rip, actually I should say oftentimes enough, when you rip through the golden ratio to your 786, you do find support at the 382 or even the 236. And that 236 is all the way down just below 0.002, right there at 0.0019. We're at 0.0027 right now. It's very possible that we could go down that low. So not financial advice, not a financial advisor. If you buy here, if you're wondering if it's a good time to buy, I think it's a perfect time to buy. I mean, from the relative high to low, what are we? We're down 67%. Yeah, it's a great time to buy. But if you buy here, just accept that it could go lower and then it'll come back up, right? And I'm not saying that it will go lower. I'm just saying it could go lower. I mean, going to the 236 after ripping through the golden ratio, hitting the 786. I mean, trust when I tell you, man, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've seen this happen. This exact move down to the 236 happen plenty of times, okay? So the fact that we go down there and back test prior resistance for support, it would be the perfect area to accumulate. Not only that, but if we delete all those fibs and we take a look at, I think this relative low would be more apprehensive to what we're trying to measure here. Low to high right here. The golden ratio is right there at 0.025. Sometimes you do wick just below the golden ratio, so 0.019, 0.025, anything and everything in that area. We're at 0.027 now. But again, don't count on these lower prices. We are at prior areas of significance here, significant enough at least to where we could find support. We don't have to go lower. We're going to look at the indicators to see if we're getting any bottoming signals or if we have signals that we will go lower. You hit the 2618. I bet you hit the 2886. Let's actually throw those fibs on there. Let's see. We'll just do it here. 2414. We're going to do 2886. It's a green line. Yeah, we hit the 2886. Going from there all the way back down to the 886 maybe. Let's see. Hold on. Let's put the 886 on there too. How do we not have the 886? Let's do this. 0.886. There we go. Right there. And that's right there. I don't know, man. It's right in the area that we're talking about. Sometimes you do that. You go from the 2886 to the 1886 or the 886. You see that kind of serendipity. By the way of these fibs, we're at a perfect area to find support. Oftentimes, actually, you do find support at this 1272 after you've made a move up. So this is a perfect area. You literally went right to it. It's a perfect area to find support. Doesn't mean that you have to find support here. You could go higher or you could go lower from here. But let's look at the indicators and see what we're coming up with, okay? I don't know why the RSI isn't on here, but that's okay. We're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to put it to a 10 count, and then we're going to make it white so it pops out a little bit more so it's easier for people to see. I'd also like to throw on, let's throw on the stochastics, sure. The stochastic RSI, I used to use that, but I don't know if I like the stochastics more personally. I don't know. Some people like the stochastic RSI. Whatever, to each their own. Stochastics here. So what we can tell is that, when you were oversold last time, that was the bottoming zone. When you were oversold last time, that was the bottoming zone. And here, to be fair, once you got to this level in the oversold area, you were about 4 days away from the bottoming zone. Here, once you got there to this level in the oversold area, you were about 3 days away from the bottoming area. So being here now in the same kind of area, we could go down for the next 3 or 4 days. It's very possible that we do go a little bit lower, but we're very near, right? This is a perfect, I don't think that anybody who bought on this day or even this day is upset with buying here after the move up happened, right? Boo-hoo for a little bit, but then it comes up. You might feel silly for a day or two, but really it's a great time to buy. I think we're seeing the signals here in the daily RSI, or the daily stochastics. The MACD is above the zero, which is nice to see, but coming down. We might come down over the coming days to scoop the zero and find support. That's fine. The RSI as well likes to find support right at this oversold zone. We're a little bit above that. So all these things implicating we could go a little bit lower and it's fine. It doesn't mean that we're going lower, but if we do go lower, it's fine. Okay, that's what we're seeing here. Looking at the volume, looking at the price action itself, you can see it. I'm going to get rid of this. That way we can, just look at the chart more. You see that as we're moving down, volume is decreasing. Now, it has picked up a little bit in this most recent event of selling, in this recent little leg here. But I'm assuming, again, I would assume that most people who are selling right now are the panic sellers, right? The people who are smart sellers, they sold here, right? The people who are panic sellers, they sold here. And the people who sell here are probably the same people who panic bought up here, right? Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So the people who are buying here, however, are likely the same people who bought here or people who were wanting to buy on this range but didn't have an opportunity to do so. Now they're getting an opportunity to do so. In other words, my friends, we're shaking out the weak hands and allowing the strong hands to step in. That's the diamond hands, the true believers of what this thing's got to offer. Again, I like to paint a little picture here for you, right? You had this thing in its first 3 days of listing, massive growth, and then it just for a very long time came down and consolidated, right? From the high back in May until August, late August. That's how long it took for us to resolve our bearish differences and then finally see some upside. The people who acquired this thing down here, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I'm assuming that they're the ones that have conviction for this project. They're aware of the long-term fundamental aspects of this project, and they're not going to sell out on the first instance of bullishness. They're certainly not selling here. We're not stopping until we see new all-time highs, you guys. And when we go to new all-time highs, what's great about this, first and foremost, from a high to a low, I think it was a decent enough selling point that even from the highest point here, you could see a 2.5x to potentially a 5x move in a very short amount of time, right? This was back in the end of August. It's been like half a month. Okay, it's been half a month. A short amount of time could be a month, 2 months. It could be a week, who knows? But I have a feeling that even if you bought the high, as long as you're holding, whenever it gets to 4.5 cents, whenever it gets higher than that, you're not going to be upset with whatever downtrend there is. It's just an opportunity to buy more. And that here, again, that's still very appealing. The fact that you can see this kind of growth in a short amount of time is very appealing. Over 100% gains is always nice. But from this level, you can see a minimum of a 7.7x to a maximum now of about a 16, almost a 17x, if not more. If not more. Let's not forget about the 10-cent area here. Let me see if I can, what area would that be? Would that be our 1886? Let's put our 1886 on there. I don't know if it would be. It might be the 200. Let's just see. 1886. That's very close. Yeah, maybe it's the 3113. Let's try that. Let's try 3113. Let's see, 3.113. Oh no, oops. That's that's too far away. It would be, what's the 2272? No, it wouldn't be there. Okay, so it's probably not that then. Yeah. Maybe the 200, I don't know. But oftentimes the 1886 to the 200 level, that is a kind of a range. If you know what I'm talking about there, it is a range. I'm going to make it kind of a vibrant color, but something that offsets everything else. Let's make it yellow. Sure, yeah, yellow stands out. 1886 to 200. Let's put that there, and then we'll do yellow as well. Yeah, that's right there in that 10-cent area. I'm just saying sometimes in strong moves and powerful moves, which I think we're going to get after this, you blast through the golden ratio. Just like here, typically with this accumulative range, you would expect that you find resistance to the golden ratio, but you blast through it. You went to your 786, 886. Could you do the same thing here, but at an extension higher? Instead of stopping at the 1618, you blast through to the 1886, 200 level, around 10 cents, which is psychological resistance, $100 million market cap level, which is psychological resistance as well. I think it could happen. I really do think it could happen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. What I'm alluding to here is that this next move will likely be larger than the last move that we saw. If we take this from a relative low to a relative high, because again, think about it, right? All this time to accumulate. The people who spent time accumulating here, they're probably not taking profits here. They're certainly not taking profits down here. What are they doing here? They're accumulating more. So accumulation, supply shock, right? More accumulation now, sucking up more supply, and there's more demand now. You can see it through the volume than there ever has been. I wouldn't be surprised in the least, especially because this thing's such a low market cap, if we saw a bigger move than what we saw last time. So I'd very much expect that we see 3 cents or more. 3 cents, 4.5 cents, maybe more than that. We'll see. I mean, inevitably, I think we get here and beyond. You know, time will tell. But that's the next kind of target area. That's the expectation there. So even at a minimum standard, even if you don't want to roll the dice too much, you want to get out at 7.5x, cool, whatever. But I think if you hold out, you could double that, more than that even. I mean, who knows, right? It could well go beyond that. And if Moonsters catches on, you guys, if the NFT marketplace really comes alive, there's some very solid evidence that this thing could see a multi-$100 million market cap and even beyond that, right? All it takes is the right recognition. All it takes is the right people to start talking about it and getting involved. And this thing could be a multi-billion-dollar asset. This is that kind of project that you could put a little bit of money into and it turns into life-changing wealth by the end of the cycle. You never know. I'm not promising that it gets to $1 billion market cap or more. It's just, if it happened, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, I would be very happy that I bought. That's for damn sure. But I wouldn't be surprised because things like this happen, man. Things like this happen. And if you have the right people behind the project, which we do, with the right vision and the right goals and the right motives, which we do, then that's the kind of stuff that attracts people for the long term to hold. That's what attracts belief and momentum. And that really ultimately is what sends the price higher. Anyways, let's look at the short-term stuff and we'll wrap this video up. Okay, 1 hour time frame here. Looking at the indicators. The RSI is bearish. You know, looking at that there, the stochastics are bearish, and the MACD is bearish as well. So that all agrees with the thought that I had in the beginning of the video, which is that we probably do move down a little bit more. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here, what makes the 1 hour time frame bearish, right? Some of you are like, okay, you say it's bearish, but is it actually bearish? Well, you're living below the 50. You're not getting overbought. You're not even getting above the 50. When you do, it's very short-lived. You're doing that the same thing on the stochastics. That's not how the stochastics normally performs. That's terrible. And then the MACD is underneath the zero. It's terrible. It's all terrible, but it's the 1 hour time frame. So it's like one of the more insignificant time frames. Don't worry about it, right? 4 hour time frame also looks bearish. Looks like you're ready to get into the oversold, and that's probably what you're going to do. The last time you got oversold was here. That was at this low point. You came up a little bit, but you still went down, right? We look at this, the last oversold time, or the last time you bounced off the oversold zone, that was a relative low as well. We're going to get there, and I think this is going to mark a relative low, but we're not there yet. Stochastics look bearish, and the MACD looks bearish as well, but that's okay. So all that on the shorter term stuff just agrees with what I've been saying, which I think we could go lower. On the daily time frame, we see we could go lower, and it's fine. It's not necessarily implying that we go lower. It's just saying that if we go lower, we're fine, and then we'll be at the same areas that we found support twice before. Hell, even 3 times before, you know, based off the stochastics and the RSI at least. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said it all. Stay mooned, as they like to say, right? Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I very much do believe that we're going to see some life in this thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if Solana-based coins, which this is on the Solana ecosystem here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw DEX coins, specifically in the Solana ecosystem, come alive when Solana's at new all-time highs. This month has been rather robust for Solana. You know, the past couple of days we've come down a little bit, but I really do believe that by the end of this month we could see new all-time highs. And if not by the end of this month, sometime in early October, you know, we're definitely going to get there. And I would very much expect and anticipate that we do see new all-time highs any day now for Sol, which should reflect well for projects like MoonROCKS. I would assume. So, you know, they in the space in the crypto Twitter space, crypto X space. Not spaces. I shouldn't say that. What's the word? In the view of users on crypto X, a lot of people are talking about how Solana meme coins and DEX coins have seen less traffic lately than they have all cycle. but that's, things come and go. Things hit highs and they hit lows. That's going to come back. And when that comes back, projects like this are primed, man. We're only at a $2.7 million market cap. We could hit 27 easy. We could hit 270 easy. Like this coin has serious potential between now and the end of October, between now and the end of this year, and especially between now and the end of the cycle. Especially even more so, we can get to those really divine market caps when NFTs come back into style. Whenever that happens, I think we got a front runner here, but time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, all right? Bye-bye.